As the dragons grow larger, they become increasingly unruly, even showing aggression toward their mother. Daenerys can do nothing about it. She continued on her way to the Iron Throne. On the road, she comes across a horrifying sight: a slave child nailed to the mile marker. And there are totally 163 mile markers between here and Meereen. Daenerys is consumed with anger. She marched her army to the gates of Meereen. The city's nobles send out a champion to taunt her. He publicly urinates and mocks her unsullied, calling them army without man parts. The nobles burst into laughter at that insult. To win Daenerys' favor, Daario Naharis volunteers to make this man quiet.
Let me kill this man for you.
Very well. You have quite an audience.
Unfazed, Daario stands his ground, even as Daenerys watches with concern. As the enemy charges at full speed, Daario calmly draws a small dagger. After swiftly dispatching his opponent, Daario throws a flirtatious wink at Daenerys. His boldness enrages the Meereenese nobles, who order their archers to fire, but their arrows fall far short of the mark. In retaliation, Daario urinates right back at them. Turning her attention to the city's slaves, Daenerys addresses them directly. Your enemy is not me. It is the masters who gave you chains and killed your children. I will not command you, but I will offer you a choice and ensure justice is served. With that, her catapults launch crates into the city. But instead of explosives, the crates are filled with broken shackles. As the chains fall to the ground, the slaves are stirred. Who wouldn't long for freedom? That night, the slaves gather in secret, debating whether to rebel. But the older generation, having suffered under oppression for so long, dared not rebel. At this moment, Grey Worm, leader of the Unsullied, appeared. He shared his own experience. Even one day as a free man is better than a lifetime in chains. Then he left his backpack behind. It was full of weapons. Inspired by Grey Worm, the slaves rise up, overthrowing their masters in a fierce battle for freedom. Without losing a single soldier, Daenerys takes control of Meereen. The freed slaves jubilantly raise their broken chains, cheering for their Misa. Amidst their adoration, Daenerys ascends the city's Great Pyramid. She looks down at the defeated masters. With no trace of mercy in her eyes, she decides to punish them in the same way they punished others. Ser Barristan tried to stop her. Now the slavers are her people too. He advised her to answer injustice with mercy.
I will answer injustice with justice.
Ignoring Barristan's counsel, she has the masters nailed to the mile markers, where the children once hung. Their agonized screams are music to her ears, as she stands atop the pyramid, overlooking her new domain. Now in control of Meereen's navy, Daenerys has both an army and a fleet, the perfect opportunity to reclaim the Iron Throne. But bad news soon arrives. Without the Unsullied to maintain order, the cities she previously liberated have fallen back into the hands of the masters. Her liberation of Slavers Bay has not gone as planned. She begins to doubt.
How can I rule 7 kingdoms if I can't control Slavers Bay? Why should anyone trust me? Why should anyone follow me?
For the sake of her people, and to prove herself a worthy leader of Westeros, Daenerys decides to stay in Slavers Bay.
I will do what queens do.
I will rule.
That night, Daario sneaks into her room, bringing her wildflowers. Overwhelmed by her frustrations, Daenerys cannot resist Daario's charm. He pledges to help her reclaim the city's loss to the masters, and in return, he wins Daenerys' affection. The next morning, Ser Jorah arrives, but the first person he encounters is a disheveled Daario. Seeing the queen he has silently served for years, taken by another man, is a cruel blow. Yet worse news awaits him. A royal pardon, evidence of his past betrayal, falls into Barristan's hands. Though Jorah has since devoted himself to Daenerys, his prior actions as a spy are unforgivable. Furious, Daenerys confronts him.
You betrayed me from the first.
Forgive me.
Even as Jorah confesses his love to her, even as she realizes this may be an enemy's ploy, she banishes him. In that case, Daenerys loses one of her most loyal allies. Meanwhile, her largest dragon, Drogon, grows increasingly defiant. He burns a flock of sheep. The shepherd brings the charred remains to Daenerys. To make amends, she compensates him with triple the value of his loss and left him satisfied. But when the next people brought a package to her, everyone stunned. only to see the old man trembling as he opened the package, revealing the scorched bones of his granddaughter. Daenerys is heartbroken. She can repay a farmer for his sheep, but how can she compensate for a 10-year-old girl's life? And Drogon hasn't been seen in weeks. In order to prevent her dragons from harming the people, Daenerys makes a painful decision. She takes her other 2 dragons, Rhaegal and Viserion, to the catacombs. As they fight over food, she chains them herself. Unexpectedly, the chains she tried so hard to break finally put on her children's neck. Their anguished roars echo in the chamber. As Daenerys locks the door with tears in her eyes,